Welcome to Motorland, a podcast driven by AAA. We're bringing you behind-the-scenes stories from some of America's great road trip destinations. I'm Jared Dienda, the voice of motorsports and auto events all around the world, and your wheelman here in Motorland.
And I'm Michelle Donati from AAA. Where getting your vehicle road ready just takes a stop into one of our many local AAA auto repair centers.
Michelle, you ready? Let's take a trip to Napa Valley. Woof.
Wine not.
Oh, jeez. Leave the dad jokes to me. Come on. It's a world-class destination for wine lovers and those who appreciate the finer things. Over 3 million people visit every year.
Now, I visited, but I wonder what it would be like to actually live in Napa Valley. That has to be amazing.
You no longer have to wonder. Amanda McCrossan is here to help us give the inside scoop only a local can have, right? Amanda is a sommelier. It's a big word and a big title. And Napa Valley insider. She's an influencer. Her Insta Somme Vivant. That sounds so exotic. Has 164,000 followers.
You can make that 164,001. I'm ready for the good life. What about you, Jared?
I am ready. Let's buckle up and ride. Amanda McCrossan, thank you so much for joining us here in Motorland.
Hey, it's good to be here, guys. Nice to see you.
Yeah, and I think we're both wine fans. Michelle, are you a wine fan?
I am. I'm a cab girl.
I show no prejudice towards any wine. I'll do a rosé all day, baby, and I'll also do a big, thick, nasty, dirty cab.
All words we love to hear about cabs. So great.
I know, exactly. So let's. A lot of us love going to Napa, but not too many people get to live there. So Amanda, tell us how it is to live in wine country, Napa.
It's the dream. I mean, I grew up watching The Parent Trap, where like Lindsay Lohan went there or lived there, I guess, with her dad in the movie, and like you kind of have like a picture of it in your mind growing up. But then when you actually get to like live there as an adult, you can legally drink and go to all the wineries. It's endgame. It's literally the best. It's the best weather. It's the best people, and everybody drinks the best wine. So what could go wrong?
Are you from Napa?
No, I'm born and raised outside of Philadelphia. So my days in California have been limited by contrast to those who've been there their whole lives.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about your Eagles. And
Too soon. Interestingly, I had no plans of moving to Napa, but I was in New York and I was looking for my next sommelier gig. So I was working as a som in the city, and I wanted to like step up my game a little bit. And so I got the opportunity to work at this place called Press, which had the largest, deepest collection of Napa Valley wines in the world. And it was sort of right in the heart of Napa Valley where all of the winemakers would be, the critics would come. It was tourist central. And I got to play with this incredible list that had vintages going back all the way to the 1950s of all the great producers.
You're painting this beautiful picture that people get to visit. They get to pop in. Speaking of people popping in, celebrities. Any sightings lately? Any good stories? Come on, give us the dirt. I'm looking at your Instagram. You have great stories.
Good question.
I think one of my favorite nights that I ever had at Press was we had LeBron James and Chris Paul come out. And so they sat in our back room. They'd been out before. And I don't know why, but the wine director at the time, he was like, you take care of them. And I'm like a lowly som. Like, what am I doing? He's like, no, you'll be fine. So I go back and I take care of them. And I ask who wants to see the list. LeBron raises his hand. I give him the list. We start talking about wines. And so we're going back and forth between vintages. And I was like, well, you know, what vintage are you thinking? He was like, I don't know. So I go back and forth. And he says, well, I think I'm going to pick this one because this is the year I got drafted. And I was like, that's cool. Like, it's interesting when celebrities come to Napa because they kind of have their guard down a little bit. It's different than New York. Everyone feels relaxed. Maybe it's the juice, who knows? But everyone feels really relaxed at Napa and like they just want to have a good time.
How long have you lived there, and how would you define the Napa lifestyle?
I lived there for almost 8 years. And I think what's really cool about Napa is it feels very small town. I live in this smaller area called St. Helena, which is in the northern part of the valley. And that's sort of where the locals live. And so what's interesting is like you have this really locals vibe where everybody knows each other, everybody helps each other out. So you have this kind of interesting hybrid where you get all the perks and the amenities of living in this small town, but you also like I moved from Manhattan. And so I never really felt like I missed the culture and the food and all the things that I loved about being in a big city.
All right, I'm getting ready. Somebody's getting ready. They're listening to this podcast. They're going to Napa. How do you prepare for Napa Valley?
I think the first thing is just knowing what to pack, right? And I think Napa in particular has a really interesting temperature situation. So we have what's called, I'm going to geek out for a second, it's called a diurnal shift. So really great for the grapes, slightly annoying for humans. So the deal is when you wake up in the morning in the months of like April all the way to like October. It's probably going to be in the low 50s in the morning. By mid-afternoon, depending on where you are in the season, those temperatures can creep up all the way to like 90s, even like 100 degrees sometimes. So I think one of the things that I always tell people is make sure that you are packing in layers. So that's one thing. The other thing is like pack room in your suitcase. So if you want to bring bottles home, you can certainly have them shipped. But if you're planning on just getting a few, like keep a couple spaces for yourself. You can get what's called like wine skins that are available at the grocery stores to keep your bottles protected. There's also wine suitcases that you can buy, preparing for the fact that you are going to potentially be buying wine and maybe a lot of it. Save yourself the headache. Have a little space in your suitcase ahead of time.
What you're describing to me is convertible dad pants, the ones that are pants and they have the zip off.
Oh, no.
Cool. Yeah, I have a pair, Michelle. I'm a dad bod, dad life, dad jokes, dad pants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
I have.
comfy.
They are golf pants, by the way.
Yeah. Also, nothing is super fancy in Napa. Like, you could go to the French Laundry.
Everybody wants to go to French Laundry, but the hack, where else can you go?
Yeah, well, the French Laundry is not only expensive, it's incredibly hard to get into, like if you can even get a reservation, right? So the French Laundry is a 3 Michelin starred restaurant by Thomas Keller in Yountville, but he has a sister restaurant called Bouchon that is wonderful. And it's a French bistro. And I think you get, you're obviously not getting 3 Michelin starred food and experience, but you're getting that feeling, that vibe of eating a 3 Michelin starred chef's food in this like wine country setting. And the other cool thing about Bouchon is they've got a bar. It fills up very quickly, but just kind of rotate through. But it's where you can kind of like rub elbows with lots of different vintners and winemakers because it's kind of a locals hangout. So you can go to the bar, get some oysters, get a glass of wine, have a salmon rillette, by a 3 Michelin starred chef. And then also like next door to you is like Dave Delgado or like Christian Moyex from Dominus. So like you just never know. Like the valley is filled with people who actually live and work there. So, and that's the place to see them.
Oh my gosh.
If you're going, how far in advance do you need to make a reservation? Can you make a reservation at Bouchon? Or if you're looking at going to one of these other restaurants, how far out should you plan for that?
Great question. I think Bouchon is about 2 months.
Okay.
But I would say as far out as you possibly can because things do book up, especially once you get into harvest season, which is the most busy, most expensive season. That's going to be late August all the way through October. That's where you're going to see hotel prices go up. That's where you're going to see reservations become impossible. The wineries are very full. So I always tell people like there's 2 times that I really like to be in Napa. One is in July, which oddly feels is like a slow time for Napa because it's pre-harvest, but you're still going to see grapes in the vine, which I think is really fun. And then the other time is in late October. So you're just kind of catching the tail end of harvest when the grapes are in tank. You can kind of smell fermentation in the air. People are a little bit more relaxed and it's not quite as busy as like those 3 months prior.
Oh my gosh. You had me at oysters as well.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, people listening to this right now are drooling.
Yes.
So
everybody hungry now?
Motorland brought to you by AAA. Here's a drool cup for you because we've painted an amazing picture.
Actually, speaking of your drool cup, that's a really good tip for people. Not a drool cup, a spit cup. So spitting is not only okay, it's encouraged, I think, in most moments. So they're going to give you a lot of wine. There's no lack of juice in Napa Valley. It takes some getting used to, but I promise you it's like what all the professionals do. And it's the only way that you're going to make it to that Bouchon dinner reservation. So.
The last time I went to Napa, I went during dry January, so I did not partake in any wine drinking, but I did enjoy lots of great bites and things. But the other thing I was really impressed with was the art scene in Napa. So can you talk to us about that?
So whether it's filmmakers or painters, there's tons of art galleries, but it's been interesting to see how many wineries actually incorporate art into their actual structures and what you're doing, and how many people actually let art inspire some of their labels and some of their wines. Over in Sonoma, there's a beautiful place called Donham Estate that has these gorgeous sculptures kind of all over the property. I think you could experience art in a lot of different ways. In fact, up in St. Helena, we have the oldest continuously run single screen theater in the country.
Wow.
And it's been completely re-outfitted with these great velvet covered love seats in the back. It's got, 4K laser projector, Dolby Atmos. And so it's sort of become like home base for the Coppola family, who will screen their films there and give like the community just, this amazing cultural experience. But it's also, a place for them to like feel safe in their art. There's so much to experience beyond the wine. And it's funny, like dry January in Napa is not dry at all. It is the rainiest, wettest month. So just like heads up, if you're in Napa in January, just like expect all the rain.
One thing on my Napa bucket list is a hot air balloon ride. And I'm curious if you've taken one and if that's something you would recommend to those visiting for the first time or someone returning to the area.
I have done it 3 times. I love it. It's my favorite thing to recommend to people, especially first timers. So like you have to be up by 5 a.m., at the balloon ride.
You hear everybody yawning right now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really cool. And as I'm sure you experienced, you see the patchwork of all the different vineyards all across the valley. Napa Valley literally is a valley. It sits between 2 mountain ranges. I think it gives you a really nice understanding and picture of what the whole valley looks like and how it's broken down into these different sectors.
Talk to us about the road less traveled. And Napa has these great roads for driving. I remember going there and you're like, oh man, you could have a spirited drive and that experience. So
yeah, sometimes I do just drive all over Napa and into Sonoma County because it's so breathtaking. And especially coming from the East Coast where we don't have these vast mountain ranges, there is like such a vastness to California and within the regions of Napa and Sonoma.
Walk us through that whole experience.
You're going to take the Silverado Trail. Don't take 29. 29 is lovely, but that's a more populated road. But you're going to take the Silverado Trail, which is super windy and will take you sort of all the way up through Napa Valley. And you're going to travel through all the different AVAs. So Yountville, St. Helena, Oakville, and you're going to take that all the way up to Calistoga. It's such an epic drive. And especially if you can do it like right at dusk when the sun is setting, because you're going to look out to your left and you're going to see these like pink and purple hued skies. You want to like stop and pull over. Like there's so many good little vistas that you can just like pop over, sit in the trunk of your car, like, crack a sparkling water, like whatever you want to have and just enjoy the ride.
I'm excited to just come hang with you and really get these kind of this rad tour of Napa and just the insider's track and just this confidence. Where can people kind of engage with you more?
Yeah, you can find me on my Instagram, which is Somme Vivant, which is SOMMVIVANT. It's a little play on Bon Vivant. And then on TikTok as well, Somme_Vivant. And then if you want to learn more about wine in a fun way, I also have a wine course that you can check out. And it's like how to become your own best wine collector, getting to know wine better, incorporating it more into your daily life, into dinners. And so I sort of teach people how to do that on a budget, which was a dream of mine.
Amanda, it's been great. So exciting to learn more about Napa Valley, what you do, wine, or just the backdrop of Motorland and Napa Valley. It's awesome. So thank you so much, Amanda McCrossan. Thanks for joining us here at Motorland.
My pleasure. Nice to see you guys.
So I'm bringing my dad pants because of the weather change. I mean, I had no idea that it could be 90 to 50 in one day. Regardless, when I go to French Laundry, I'm wearing my dad pants. That's right.
Might be in poor taste, Jared.
Oh my gosh. I appreciate all the insight that she gave us.
Hey, if you like this episode, be sure to click on that free subscribe or follow button. That way you'll be on board everywhere we go here in Motorland.
Of course, thank you so much, Michelle. And a big thanks to everybody at AAA for keeping this podcast going.
And don't forget, AAA members receive complimentary travel planning services, either in the branch or by phone from AAA travel experts.
Hello, hello, take me anywhere.
Motorland is executive produced by AAA Mountain West Group in cooperation with Sound That Brands. Hello, Take Me Anywhere, written by Justin Sullivan, performed by Night Shop, by arrangement with Terror Bird Media. Thank you for listening. If you like it here at Motorland, please give us a rating and review and share it with all your friends. I'm Jared Dienda. May the road rise to meet you and the wind be at your back. We'll see you again soon in Motorland.